that's been one of the real pluses, I think, that we have some new players that have not played. We have some that have, won multiple gold medals. Our training camp that we had last October in Las Vegas really, really helped. Made everybody a little more familiar with each other. They know what to expect from me. I know what to expect from them. They change every year, just as you would expect. There's a real comfort level that I have with certainly with the returning players. And the fact that I've coached against every one of these players at some point during their careers in college, I feel like I know. I don't think there's one player that's here that at some point we didn't have to play against them in the NCAA tournament or some big game somewhere, multiple times. So for me, it's kind of fun to see them from a different perspective and for them to see me in a different perspective.
Can you talk about the challenge of trying to, this must have been an impossible task just to produce a training camp roster out of the talent that's in this country, much less cut down to 12?
Yeah, it's not going to be, it's not going to be easy because we have 17 here. We have, in the pool, we have 7, I think, that are playing. So even if you cut 5 players off this roster and you're at 12, next week you're back to 19. So it's not going to be easy. Getting to this number wasn't as easy as it's been in the past. In the past, it might have been very simple to find who the 12 best players in the country are. Everybody knew who they were. Boom, let's do it. 15 at the max. Now you get to 20 and you still go, well, what about this guy? What about that guy? What about that guy? So we're in an enviable situation as far as that's concerned, that we have many more choices than we used to, 8 years ago, let's say.
Does it make it more competitive?
Yes.
A lot of these players probably haven't been in a tryout for their teams in a long time.
Well, a lot of times what's happened in the past is the team is kind of set. So people will come to a tryout and they'll be like, is it really a tryout? Because it looks to me like everybody knows who's going to be on the team. Well, for one of the few times now, we've got 4 players that were on the Olympic team that are not available to us. Swin Cash, Asia Jones, Tamika Catchings, and Candace Parker. So that's 4 players. So that's 4 spots that if every other Olympian decides to play and is good enough to play. Like there's this assumption that, well, you were on the Olympic team in 2012 in London, so you're automatically on the World Championship team. That wouldn't be fair to the guys trying out. So, we talked about the guys that were on the Olympic team in 2012. They have to play themselves off the team. So if they don't do what we ask them to do and they're not as good as we, expect them to be, and some younger guy comes up, and then you know what? That's just the way it's going to be. But the other guys have to play their way on the team. They're not getting any breaks. They're not getting any benefit of the doubt. The older guys, they get a little benefit of the doubt, as it should be. And it makes these younger guys hungry, but they know there's minimum of 4 spots available. Minimum. Could be more.
When you have some great newcomers of college players like Elena Deladon and Skylar Diggins, who are pretty darn good college players who are not on the London team.
Yeah, and
Brittany,
people,
I guess, too.
Brittany Griner, Elena Deladon, Skylar Diggins, Kayla McBride, Brianna Stewart. You take all these Odyssey Sims. You take a lot of these young guys that were, Stephanie Dolson, Bria Hartley were All-Americans last year. You get guys that were really, really good players, and you say, Shanae Agumake was a Rookie of the Year in the WNBA. You go, well, yeah, you got to make room for those guys. I say, okay, why don't you be in charge of taking guys off? Go ahead, tell me. And then you go, well, It's easy to say, well, you got to get this guy on the team, right? Yeah, sure. Tell me who to take off. And you go tell him. Say, look, by the way, you're not on the team anymore. Not going to be easy. Not going to be easy. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
How do you make the team for Thursday?
How what?
How you make the team for Thursday, the red-white?
I think we'll just do what we always do, let's see what happens the next couple of days. Try to split it up so it's as even as possible. Try to get some matchups that we're looking for. And then just, go with it. And if we have to change at halftime, we'll change at halftime. But, sometimes it's as easy as saying to the assistant coaches, okay, draft your teams. Sometimes last October at training camp, I asked Diana and Sue, you guys are always moaning and groaning about coaches can't coach and referees can't referees and blah, 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 blah. How about you guys pick the team and you guys coach them? Let's see how good you guys are. So we like to just have some fun with it and let them be involved. And it's funny when sometimes when you ask them, okay, pick your teammates, then all of a sudden they start to realize it's not about whether my teammates like me or not. It's about whether they respect me enough to want me on the floor with them at crunch time. It's interesting. It's interesting.
You were just talking about how hard it's going to be to cut down the roster and type of talent that's here. When you think about how much the women's game has grown, you guys are even in that position.
Well, if you think back, and I have these discussions with Sue and Diana, Tamika Catchings, their first go-around, they sat the bench. They hardly ever played. So you say, really? There was a time when Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, and Tamika Catchings never played? Yeah, because they couldn't get Dawn and Teresa Edwards and Lisa Leslie and those guys out of the lineup. So they guys had to wait their turn. And now, they're there and somebody else got to wait their turn. But USA Basketball is always in great shape when it comes to people waiting their turn because so many people want to do it. You never have to get on the phone and beg people to play. So any good player, from the time they've been in 11th grade, 10th grade, they played USA Basketball. So if you ask them, could you envision not playing USA Basketball? They would say no, impossible. It's such a big part of their lives. It's a big part of their reason for their success.
You establish, it's almost like a transition at Connecticut. The kids who come in know what's expected at UConn. When you first came to USA Basketball, were you kind of surprised that same process was here? I mean, because there was a set like Dawn's group set in, and they told Sue and Tamika and all that group, this is how it's going to be. And
that's right.
It looks like Sue and Tamika are telling the next generation.
Yeah, it's very similar. It was somewhat of an easy transition for me, in that at Connecticut, a successful season is if we win every game. If we win every game, people go, hey, that was a really nice year you guys had. Thanks. So then you go, well, what are you going to do to relax? I'm going to coach USA Basketball. Well, what's the goal there? Well, you got to win every single game against everybody in the world. Other than that, it's not that hard a job. So as you get going in that, you realize the only way that can happen is you have to have a certain culture. And the culture is, and we talk about this with this particular group of players, whatever you do on your team, you're probably the main guy on your team. But when you come here and you get in this group, it's not about you anymore. And those that think it's about them, they don't last very long in this environment. So the culture has been created that once you put that jersey on, it doesn't say UConn, it doesn't say Phoenix Mercury, it says USA. So we don't give a shit who your agent is. We don't care any about that stuff. We don't care how much money you make from any place else. When you come here, put that stuff away, and it's all about USA Basketball and about winning, and representing your country the right way. And this is the most successful team in the history of the Olympics. USA women's basketball won 5 straight gold medals, and no one in the history of the Olympics in any team sport has dominated like that. So it's pretty impressive.